Let me hear you scream. It's the Worldwide DJ Coalition
Network, the best damn show with Worldwide Radio. Why I deal with ReRocx the Spot R920. Acknowledge me. Say it to me. International Fleet Radio. A solid thing set. My name's Grand Body P. You know what I mean? It goes something like this. MikeDog36@gmail.com. MikeDog36@gmail.com is the email to send your submissions to the show and get showcased. But they've got to be fire. You know how this show stays now, you know. We've leveled up. It's got to be fire. No trap, no mumble rap. Don't be a tragedy. And at the time of recording this interview, don't be a tragedy like Drake. You know why? Because Kendrick Lamar just packed him up. At least from what I've heard. I haven't heard the diss record myself. I don't care to hear the diss record myself. I'm not particularly that interested. But from what everybody's saying, Kendrick Lamar packed him up.
Hey, okay, I didn't even know Kendrick Lamar dropped. He's been waiting a minute to drop in it, so I didn't even know.
At the time of this interview, he's only just dropped the diss record today. You see me? He only just dissed. So everyone on my social media is like, oh, snap! Kendrick Lamar's responding to Drake, blah, blah, blah. It's bad enough Drake already lost the battle, you know what I mean? Because he tried to use AI, use Tupac and Snoop Dogg voice from what I heard, and then Tupac's estate not gonna come in after him. So he already done lost the battle from them, but Kendrick just come and packed him up, send him to the gulags. But anyway, enough about that. I needed to acknowledge this man because he's known for projects like Flavor, projects like Moment of Truth, the one called Otito, I hope I pronounced that correctly. You know what I mean? The new album, Tinker, Love Equals Opportunity. It's out there right now. I saw this man live earlier this year. I was hoping to see him again, but you know, things happen and things happen. You see me? Acknowledge the African Revolution. Acknowledge Ladbroke Grove. Acknowledge our special guest. Welcome to RePPiN4U Hip Hop Show. WATUSI87. Welcome to the show, brother. How you feeling?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I am great, man. I can't give thanks enough in this time. The mystics are just holding me, and I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Let me apologize in advance. You know what I mean? Well, depending. I mean, by the time this goes out, you've already performed at, you know, I believe you're going back to Portobello Road, and then also you've got another show on the bank holiday weekend, and originally I was meant to go and see you and perform live out there, but
no problem, man.
Yeah, you know, I think set already. Certain things happen, and then I was like, can't make it. So I do apologize in advance for that. But the thing about it was, what I'm glad about was, I got to meet you back in February anyway, which has led to this moment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we're here now. So big ups to yourself, big ups to the lady called Joelle. Have I pronounced her name correctly as well?
JL.
Yeah. She was also instrumental of putting this all together as well, man. You know what I mean? But how you feeling the response of the album right now? Love Equals Opportunity.
I'm happy with it. You know, as an artist, you're always like, well, I can't speak for many artists, because there's so many artists. I can't speak on behalf of all of them. Mm-hmm. But I know this is the artist struggle, you know, that you're always wanting more. It's a challenge to kind of be content with what you have and see the beauty in what you have. Some people got spiritual riches, some people got physical riches. Either or, you might want the other, whichever one you got, you might want the other. But when you get so deep into that thought or that way of feeling about your own music or your own journey, you can kind of miss out on what you have already. And at the moment, I've been getting good responses at the moment. And, you know, when it first came out on Bandcamp, you know, people were buying it. At the moment, that's kind of died down because I haven't released new content in regards to the videos and the Instagram stuff. I got a lyric that says, you know, shy on the gram like I don't read the measurements. So at times I can be a bit shy because various reasons I won't go into at this moment. But overall, it's having this impact, and those who received it and are receiving it are giving it good praise. So I'm content with that.
It's interesting you say that you know that you have shy moments. So how, I mean, is it adrenaline or something like that that makes you get rid of that shyness when you actually perform live? Because that doesn't come across when I saw you live back in February, and also, you know, you're performing it in front of capacity crowd out there over the bank holiday as well. You know what I mean? So I mean, what kind of how do you prepare to go out there, considering you call yourself?
Oh man, that's light work for me. Because I kind of became kind of not immune, because sometimes, you know, you do get the odd nerve here and there, but the hostile nature of grime when it first came out, the hostile nature of spitting in those arenas, the grime arenas, kind of made everything else that came after a little bit more easier. You know,
right.
So that's my roots in performing in front of people. Grime.
Grime, as in grime music.
Yeah. I've been around since then.
You know what? I thought it was like, no, I thought you've been around like even before the whole grime scene. You know what I mean?
Now the grime scene is when I came out performing in front of people. Before that, I was writing and sharing lyrics locally, not like you know, around my little crew of friends and so on and so forth. But in terms of being out there in front of people, being judged by people I don't know, that was initially the grime phase, you know.
Wow. So let me ask you this. If you performed in front of a grime crowd, right? How do they receive you, considering your content is predominantly hip hop?
Oh well, no, them times there, my content was quite grimy.
Right.
I'm talking about the inception of grime. I'm talking about 20 years from now, you know, 20 years ago, excuse me. But now, I still have that in me, and I still make a few grime tunes here and there. But I'm still connected to that kind of hungry, gritty London energy, but just in a grown version. Not talking about, not glorifying violence, not talking about I'm the biggest man. Maybe talking about I'm the best MC. Sometimes that might come into it, but it's the whole grown experience now, you know. But in terms of the gram, basically with the gram, it wasn't about when I was younger. So there's young people, they're born into a world of gram, so that it just comes naturally to them. At times it don't actually come that naturally to me, and I have to get out of my guarded shell, and I've done it many times, but then I retract. And if you follow my journey, you will see that I'm super on it at times, and then there's other times where you won't see me for a little bit, and that's just my challenge with the whole thing, you know, because I'm quite a personal person. Like, you know, I don't really share my business. I'm not trying to be out there gossiping about people. I don't really talk about people. So I kind of keep myself to myself in a lot of ways. So it's kind of like, you know, learning that side of me and learning how to bring that forth without compromising who I am. Still a work in progress. Still a work in progress in terms of the gram, anyway.
It's still a work in progress. your story, as far as musically, is quite interesting because what I read up on you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, just like you did earlier, was that you began writing like in an era when house and garage was quite big. Am I right in saying that? And
Yeah,
that
you're right. You're right in saying that.
wow. So I mean, your music is very lyrical, right? Very lyrical. So my question to you is, how was House and Garage influential to you when you got into? Because in my opinion, in my estimation, House and Garage doesn't focus on lyrics. It's just more of the beat, more the melody, more put on your Moschino jeans and dance. Try your Nokia 702 phone. You know what I mean? Your Versace umbrella and all them kind of things. So yeah, man, explain that process, man. How it influenced you to.
Oh, you're making me go deep in the vaults today. I like it though. I like it. So initially, when I was young, I was like just coming into my teenage years, and it was just exciting. The only thing I can imagine, like I can what am I saying? The only thing I can kind of liken it to, from what I've heard, is when the man them had hip hop and it just came out in the Bronx and so on and so forth, and then everyone would gather to hear these MCs and the DJs, so on and so forth, and there's this electrical vibe that people are coming for. My story is that with House and Garage, like everyone was bigger than me. It wasn't, you couldn't just find it so easily. But when you found it, it was exciting. And I remember there was this guy, I'll never forget this lyric. He said, "Sexy ladies and sexy girls, sexy ladies all over the world." And I was like, whoa. 13-year-old me was like, whoa, like this guy is the man. Like, I need to see more of this, So all of that happened, and then So Solid blew up, and so on and so forth. And it was just kind of like the characters that I know on the street and I've met and so on and so forth were now in my ears telling me lyrics, and now on my TV screen. So it wasn't more like a lyrical thing, but it was a more of a like smooth coolness, pretty road, but also pretty smooth, Gallus man, but don't mess with me. And I can't lie, man, the glitz and glamour of that on a local level just took the ends by storm. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that can verify this. And my friend group, we was all in awe of this energy and this vibe that was coming through House and Garage. So fast forward to now, how does it transcend? Well, it kind of transcends in terms of like doing a fast tempo is nothing, and also being charismatic kind of comes naturally as well, because those are the kind of local bodies that were our first influence. They were all charismatic, you know what I'm saying? When they touched the mic, they might have just been a cool any guy. But when they touched the mic, they become charismatic. You wouldn't touch the mic if you wasn't charismatic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've always been a hip hop head. I was before that era, I was into hip hop and the magic of rhymes through hip hop. So that never changed, but it just gave us people like me a little bit of a difference than to say like anyone else from outside the country, especially the Americans, like, we can see I don't know, someone like, I don't know, who can I mention? Like a Biggie, who's known as the greatest MC of all time. But I don't think Biggie could really like sound that good on House and Garage like that. He had that you know what he was going with us. Like he had that fast flow, but it's like he can do that. But I don't know if he could continuously do that and sound good, especially like how we do it. Like naturally, it comes to us, and It's also kind of funny now to like that stuff. Some of that stuff was cool to us, but also it's still kind of like our story. It's still our story, and it's still like feeding parts of how we do our thing. You know?
Yeah, man. I mean,
Did that answer your question though? Did that answer your question?
you really broke it down in a way I didn't expect. Well, I do, I do give you props and ratings for that, and I find it interesting how you brought Biggie into the mix. You know what I mean? Because he's always going to be one of those what ifs now in hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
What if Biggie flowed on this? What if he did that? What if, because there's people out there who would say, "Oh, Big, he wouldn't work with Drake, or Tupac wouldn't work with Drake, or you know what I mean, like that kind of thing." Personally, I don't know. I don't know. After all, Big, he did work with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Let's keep that real, and he flowed like them too. You know what I mean? He flowed like Bone Thugs and Harmony too. So it's like when you mention like the possibility of him, or even picturing him trying to write like flow over a house and garage type flow, or a drill, or a drill type flow. You know what I mean? It really does get you thinking.
It gets you thinking, right? And maybe Biggie is not the greatest example because Biggie was a versatile MC, but I personally can't see it. I can't see him sounding like how good he sounded on that Bone Thugs and Harmony tune and House and Garage tune. I think it just made you laugh, and it kind of makes me smile too.
I mean, even more recently, I call him the man of the moment right now, Nas. You know what I mean? Over his recent albums with Hit Boy, you know what I mean? Sometimes Hit Boy will switch the hip hop beat and go into something like a drill beat, and you hear Nas flowing over that. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa! You don't see it coming.
Yeah. But I remember on Nostradamus, I think it was the song called Big Thing. Or was it your big girl now? One of those tunes.
Oh, you're a big girl. I remember Big Girl now.
But yeah, I think he was flowing quite fast on it, and I remember thinking this flow doesn't suit Nas at a very young age. I remember, and it made me think, and maybe because now he could. I think he mastered that. I think he can master any flow now. He's still killing it. But I remember thinking like having that thought growing up, saying that this man couldn't spit on House and Garage. I actually thought that before, and this man couldn't spit on a grime thing like as naturally as we do. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what I was trying to get at. Maybe Biggie wasn't the best example, and New Yorkers ever seeing this might want some words with me because you don't talk about Biggie to New Yorkers, but just to emphasize the point of that, it comes natural to us to spit on something fast and do different tempos coming through that gateway of fast tempo music like house and garage, and later on grime and dubstep, and before that jungle and D&B, so on and so forth. And it kind of, we've seen it done so many times that anytime we want to do it, it's kind of like the blueprint's been set and it's not hard for us. A lot of MCs that are hip hop heads that are my generation, it's not hard for them to do that. I don't feel like that transcends into other places in the world,
Yeah. I will say this much before we move on. The fact that you can perform in front of a grime crowd or grime culture type crowd, and still rock it is good, but I don't think it translates well in reverse. You know what I mean? I've been to one show in particular, it was quite recent, where it was more of a drill artist tried to rock a 90s hip-hop crowd. It did not go down too well at all.
Well, big up to him for trying it, because there's a lot of people of his generation or in that genre that won't even think of that. But maybe why that is because they're trying to connect with something that they think sounds good, not knowing that you have to embody it. You know what I'm saying? If you wasn't part of it, you have to go and do your research, I feel, or really like have a passion and a love for it. Not just be like, oh, this sounds good. Let me do it. Like because to those who are part of that era, it's a sacred music, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't connect to that sacredness or think of it like with some sort of spiritualness and some sort of reverence, then maybe it won't come across so good. And also a lot of these brothers, you know, they don't have a lot of reference points. Like, and I know that I'm not just guessing because I work with young people that are into the drill thing and whatever. And some of them might like it's mad. I met a young person that didn't know who people I grew up. They didn't know who Wu-Tang was, and I'm not even sure if they knew who Tupac was, and all of these things. And I never thought of such a thing was even possible. Like, and they don't know this stuff, but it's happening. It's happening. So, you know,
so
it makes
asking,
sense.
how old was this person? Do you recall, or if you can?
At the time, I feel like they might have been I can't remember, between 17 and 19, something like that.
Wow. Yo, we still got work to do. Our generation still got work to do.
There's a lot of work to do, man. I've been talking about this today. I've been talking about this recently, and there's so much work to do. Like, to know that, you know, my parents came here and they thought about, and my parents' generation came to this country and they thought about standing taller than their parents, you know? And then they went through and they suffered some horrendous abuse for it. And they came out the other side to the point where we don't actually have to fight overt racism every day. On a very big scale, some of us don't even know racism exists, right? But we're still suffering in many ways. And it's like, me personally, talking to my mom, my dad, my gran, like the way they would speak connected me to my roots. You know what I'm saying? Connected me to beyond this country. Now, you know, the parents are getting younger and they're getting more ingrained into this society and becoming more part of it a lot of the time, and becoming into this ends mentality and locality, to the point where their children, they're getting further and further away from that. And I'm like, that's cool if the world was set different, but from having that experience and going through that, there's some sufferation that's potential to change the trajectory of your life that, you know, I'm not going to stand for. I'm not going to be here and act like it's not happening. Because it's happening to my family and your family and our families. And that's just one example. So, you know, I can go about my daily life and enjoy it. But knowing that, you know, we got suffer because, you know, I didn't do certain things and people of my generation that can see didn't do certain things is an uncomfortable reality that I couldn't face without attempting something, you know?
Word. Man, you know what, Watusi? We gotta have a part 2 of this later on in the year. I don't know if you're going to be a part of you know, like a future show like in September. We'll probably talk about that off the grid, you know what I mean? But we gotta have a part 2 of this. There's so much I want to ask you, and I've got so little time. You know what I mean?
No problem, bro. No problem, man. As long as I'm alive, you know, I'm there with the fam. You get me?
Of course. But I do want to ask you this real quick. I checked out the Love Equals Opportunity. As a matter of fact, I've checked out your previous projects as well. I wanted to ask you about them, but why? I'd rather ask you in person. So there's an actual track, Tinker. Well, let me find it here now.
What are you saying? I thought you would have had that logged in like Terminator. Did you?
Tinker Headspin. That's one of my you know, that's one of my highlights from the album.
Okay, great.
I mean? Yeah, man. Quickly talk us through that. You know what I mean? Talk us through the creation of that record and everything, man.
Okay, so that record there, you know, that's the cause the producer of the project, No Name Beats, RU1 fam, beat maker, producer. He's made all the beats. So I was like, well, it makes sense to get the RU1 fam to feature on the project. So
Yeah.
I chose that song for the reason that I kind of had seen somebody else. I can't remember their name. The Mouse Outfit, something like that.
Mouse Outfit.
Something Outfit. And they've done some jazzy hip hop stuff with some MCs. And it kind of reminded me of what they did. And because it's got the it's kind of got that jazzy riff, and the drums a bit kind of like taking like a funk jazzy kind of drum vibe. So I just felt like, you know, making the man that normally spit on hardcore hip hop beats, or I used to spit on hardcore hip hop beats, come and spit on some jazzy stuff. I thought that was a perfect way to say, you know, my squad was still there, repping together, so on and so forth. And yeah, man, I just presented them with the idea. They was all in. Mercury, Meshack Key done his verse first, and then I got Magical to come in after, a little time after to finish off the project. I'll finish off that song. He was one of the last recordings. But yeah, it was a pleasure to get the man to feature. And basically, it went through processes of change. Sometime initially, I had like 2 verses on the track, and then I kind of switched it to something else, and I was like, no, it needs something a bit more catchy. And that's when the fire extra hot tonight, and there's no one that can stop the vibe. That's why I was like, you know what? Let me put that in there, and I replaced the verse. They're there, and yeah, it's just I just kind of went into my producer bag, you know. No Name's already made the beats, but I'm bringing that album together, so I kind of wanted to kind of just not have a bunch of bars on the song, especially for that song, because I felt like it's something that we can perform and it might go off. Actually, it's very likely to go off every time. So I kind of wanted to have something that the crowd can sing along with and kind of get hyped to. So that's kind of the synopsis of that tune there.
Yeah, man. That's important, man. Especially it translates to when you perform it live and all that. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. With regret, we're running out of time on this one. So I really appreciate
the occasion when we're running out of time and we've got so much to say.
That's what I'm saying. Part 2 is gonna have to run. I really appreciate.
Yeah, part 2 is gonna be a madness. Don't watch that.
Yeah, man. And when we do part 2, it's gonna be in person. I don't even like Zoom. You know what I mean? I don't even like Zoom interviews, man. Word up, man. But especially when the artist is from the UK, I don't like doing Zoom interviews. But I really appreciate you coming on the show. But that's what's up, man. Big up yourself, WATUSI87. You know what I mean? I hope to see you later on in the year, man. Hopefully September. I'll talk to you off the grid, though.
No problem.
Can't turn the other cheek. Still no justice, no peace. Inside is hurting. Still gotta keep the fire burning. We say no justice, no peace because there's still no justice, no peace. Time to walk the walk, don't come with cold feet. Our memories of Grenfell, something so deep. And still the community haven't healed much. Neglected by the system, now how could they feel love? What they waiting for, the year 3000? Still got survivors in temporary housing. Bring the therapy round them, bet they need counselling. Wanna make a change, well, let it be now then. We ain't forget we've been distracted. Distracted by the hurt and the sadness. Won't be the same again, that's permanent damage. Ironic how we all still burning with anguish. For those that never made it through the fire, we fight for you, ready to take it to the wire. Be careful what excuses you come with when we ask you why was no one